Welcome in, everyone, to the Challenge After Show. Today, Pamela and I are discussing part 2 of the Ride or Dies Challenge final, entitled The Hours.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't read the title. I didn't know what it was called. That's a good one.
I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of hours going by, and at the end of this episode, there is still yet 32 hours left in the final. So they've done almost exactly 2/3 of the final after this episode. So that makes sense, right?
That makes sense. Yep. They're pacing it properly.
I mean, how perfectly, right? It just worked out so perfectly. So we pick up at technically still station 3 because Jordan and Anissa are there still trying to figure out the slingshot. However, they make it look like they bang out that slingshot real damn quick. I don't know if there's any truth to that. They actually did it within like 2 or 3 tries, but I think it was just like, okay, we need to move on to station 4, which is like the swamp. Like that's what we really need to get you to. So I'm not sure they finished it as quickly as they say they did, but they made it look real quick.
There's no way for us to know. And Dan, that slingshot is so last week. I didn't even remember that from, that's so last week. I didn't remember that is even how the episode kicked off because I tried to watch it yesterday and fell right on asleep. So then when I picked up today, they were already moving on to the next station.
Well, I'm glad you said moving on because you know what? It's the swamp puzzle. They've got to go out into this. Is that green stuff algae? Like, what is that?
I think it was just algae floating on top of I don't think it's like literally a pea soup swamp because you could see Tori.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it's all the way through, right? It's just floating. Yeah.
But Devin, man, is Devin hilarious. Like, he was my joy of this episode leading up to this. He's like, this might be toxic. We might come out with more powers than we came in with. And
I wrote it down just how funny he was. Like him saying that, yeah, I'm going to come back, not as a superhero, though. I'd like to be a super villain so I can watch the world burn. I'm like, man, this guy.
For me, I'm going to be a villain. Yeah, he was just so funny. And walking even on the way there with the cows, he's like, what's up, cows? There's a guy who hates you. His name's Bananas. And then he was like, she's a vegan, back off. It was very funny.
And then props to the producers, or the editors, I should say. The editors are editing in the cows commenting back to them.
Right, like, oh, get out of my, like, who are you, man?
They wrote what an asshole to Devin. So the cows were having fun with it. The people were having fun with the cows. Devin's like, stop, or was it Bananas? He was like, stop eyeing me. The cows were like eyeing him. It was great. Just good it's nice to see good comedy throughout these episodes as well, and not just serious.
It was very fun, and they did make it, to be honest, this was the most competition intensive, just like going through things that they needed to splash some entertainment on, and they did. Like, it was essentially a kind of a boring episode in terms of like what happened.
100%. Yeah, because think about it. Nothing can really happen. You can't find out the winner, and it's not the beginning of something. This is the middle of the show. Like, unless you're going to add drama aspects and comedy aspects to it, it's basically like you got to get your shit done, which is basically a lot of puzzles. Like, let's be real. I don't know. Was there in this episode anything besides doing puzzles?
Running, a lot of running, puzzles, and eating. Well, there was the eating.
Okay, so we got some eating. Running, I don't take running as much unless there's the drama with the running, which we saw some tonight. Like, but I'm not going to be like, oh man, this is great, more running, and they're all doing so well. Like, no, if there's going to be running, there's got to be drama with it, or else I don't care.
The only real conflict we saw today was, well, we'll get into it, was Jordan and Anissa to some extent. And I want to see how you feel about the ankle reveal, because they did show it to us. Remember last week we were discussing, like, if they show us this blown up foot, and we'll eat our words and say, oh my God, but Jordan's like, yeah, it looks like a rolled ankle.
Yeah, like, it looks like, so yeah, okay. It was a little puffy. It was a little, she said it was purple the next morning, but to me it was like, well, you were outside in the cold all night, so I don't know. Isn't your whole body a little bluer? I don't know.
All right. Well, let's get into it.
All right.
Walk us through each of these.
Okay. Statements. Well, we're in any. Do you have anything about the swamp puzzle? So I will give this props to all 3 women. They all solved that there was a pattern to this. None of the dudes knew what was going on. More props for to Devin for listening right away, for Bananas for kind of listening, and then you have to give less and less props to Jordan, for making her go all the way back after she had already basically had solved it, that it was a pattern. So, you know,
Jordan was being an asshole. Like Jordan officially slid into asshole territory.
because
At
I
that
wonder if a Zach or if a Fessy was yelling at his partner the way that Jordan was, we tend to give Jordan a break because we love Jordan so much. But if there's another guy doing that to Anissa, I think we're all like, yo, that dude needs to chill out. Like, there were moments where I thought Jordan was funny tonight because he was saying things that I think we're all thinking as viewers at home. So I can let that slide because I'm feeling the same way. But then
with
he goes,
this, he was right, and he cost them time. With this, it's like your ego now is getting ahead of you. You're just undercutting Anissa because she's Anissa and you don't trust her, and she's right. He just thought she was being lazy because it was like, look, we don't need to go back. I like see the pattern, and he was like, whatever. At least he did give her credit initially, and I will say he could have said, in Jordan's defense, which I do think he was a shithead, but in his defense, it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. We're not just going to not go back again and follow this kamikaze plan you've come up with. I understand that if he wanted to go and sort of check it, but he did discredit her and she was right. So it was not a good showing on Jordan's side.
and then you can look at it for a bunch of different ways. Like, yeah, Jordan took it too far, but we love Jordan, so we let it slide. On the other hand, she's now blaming him for her rolled ankle. Okay, there's so many angles to this, Pamela. There is the angle of, yes, he tried to take a shortcut. But then we think, well, why did he try to take a shortcut? Well, part of it was due to, hey, well, maybe if we take this shortcut, you don't have to run so much because you're not the best runner. So there's that angle. But then there's also the angle of if she came into the challenge in better shape, and she was stronger in her leg area, the chances of her rolling an ankle are a little bit slimmer. You know, they're both at fault in their own way, and it's such a, I don't want to say it's toxic, but it is getting to that point where, look, they just don't work well together. They're not, and let's be real, they were never really ride or dies. This whole challenge trying to shove down our throats that these two are ride or dies is bullshit. We know how they came together. Something happened to her partner. We know that when they shot that boat sequence, I think was it you that brought it up, that when that initial boat sequence in episode 1 where they're showing all like the boat and stuff, they had to cut, maybe it was Jenna, they had to cut around Anissa. Anissa was on that boat with her original partner.
Who was her original partner?
I don't want to say who it is and have it be wrong. So tell us in the comments below.
Maybe like, right, who would Anissa's original
Anissa had an original partner that then somehow, I don't know if he got COVID or whatever, but then they brought Jordan in for her. So on that boat, Anissa's on that boat. They cut it around so we never knew Anissa was on the boat, but she was. And that was I'll look it up who Anissa's original partner was. But okay, that's the whole thing of like, these two were never really supposed to be together anyways. If they were going to give Jordan a ride or die, they would not have given him Anissa.
No. Well, Nia was supposed to be, was asked to be on it with Jordan. And
who was it?
Naya.
Oh, thank you. Naya would have been a much better partner because they've really grown in their relationship.
Right. They really have had a ride or die relationship. So
yeah. That's 100%.
What I wanted to say is Jordan and Anissa are fine. What I'm actually liking about this, and I don't think I'm not giving MTV that much credit that like this is by design, or maybe it is, but I think the way that or maybe it is, but the way that it's working out is that, as with any challenge partnership, not just ride or dies, but it is working out that communication and being real ride or dies like Tori and Devin and friends and understanding each other and respecting each other is really important in everything they're doing. And I think it is, again, even when the theme's not ride or dies, but it is great. I hope, not just in addition to wanting Tori and Devin to win, because I want them to win, but it's like, and they really are ride or die, so they should win.
And let's also say this. Tori and Devin, definitely the best ride or die pair. Also, I do think that producers I know they're pushing certain narratives, but Tori should have won that other season against Casey. Let's just be real. She destroyed that entire final except for the last freaking like 30-minute mountain climb. So I think producers are also pushing, and I have a conspiracy coming up, for actually Tori and Devin to win this because they'd both be first-time winners. But I think they're saying to themselves, well, if Nani won, it's also a win, but Bananas has won so much. So I think they're pushing for Tori and Devin. I have a conspiracy coming up for that, and I will get to it when we get there. Back to the Anissa thing. Anissa's original partner was her best friend off the show named James Simon. Don't know who this guy is. Okay. But it says it right here. But the last minute, she ended up being partnered with Jordan. And I don't know why though. Maybe I have to assume he got COVID or something happened.
Oh, I remember Jordan's really asshole moment, by the way.
It says some last minute drama before filming began forced her to switch things up. And then there's more of how it went down. But tell me Jordan's asshole moment. Sorry.
His asshole moment was, it's no wonder it's been 13 years. Like, that was really assholey, unnecessary. That's where I was like,
okay. And call me an asshole too, because I don't mind if it's I laughed out loud.
Oh, I was like, oh, bad, Jordan.
I was like, it made me laugh out loud. And I went back. I was like, I got to rewatch it. I watched it again. I laughed out loud again. Like, what does that say about me? I don't know. But at the same time, it made me laugh out loud. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Means you're a straight shooter, because I think you're a very nice person, but you're not. You agree. You're saying you're out of shape. You're not built for this. You shouldn't be here. No wonder it's been 13 years. Like, that's a
yes. And you know, 100%. I don't agree with everything Jordan said tonight. I thought he was pushing it way too far at some moments. Come get me. He kept saying that to her when they were running. Come get me. I mean,
stop. Again, I get his frustration. It's like, I shouldn't be stopping moving so you can come catch up to me.
So it's like, it's hard. And you know, and people say you're in the moment, you're letting your frustration get to you. Now we're talking mounted of like 24 hours of him trying to get Anissa to just keep up with him at like some type of jogging pace, not like a walking pace, a little more than that. And his frustration built up, and then he said things that he probably shouldn't have said.
Yes.
But there is some truth behind it. So maybe that's why I laughed, but he did take it too far at moments.
For sure. But it's not, I understand Jordan's frustration. However, it's not helpful to anyone to belittle your partner.
And I'm glad you're saying that, though, because if Fessy or Zach, like I said earlier, was treating Anissa this way, you'd be all over them. I know you like Jordan a lot, so I'm glad that you're also saying, well, it's not right that Jordan's doing it as well.
Yeah. You know? No, it was real shitty. I mean, it wasn't nice. And it was not, again, it was uncalled for. It's not helpful. It's being a jerk. And it's not going to help anything. I think Jordan, at least to some extent, Jordan, my defense of him is that I understand that he's frustrated, but I still don't think it's defensive. I'm saying he's being an asshole. He's being a jerk. He's not cool.
Some more like, I don't want to say behind the scenes stuff, but I believe that he was still in like the Ukraine or whatever when they probably started casting for this season. That's why he wasn't originally cast. And I think that if he had known, if he was originally cast and they said, hey, you're going to be with Anissa, I think he'd have been like, nah, I'm good. Let me pick a better ride or die. But what happened was she was already cast with James Simon. And then they came to Jordan and say, hey, Jordan, casting's officially done. The only person, if you want to be on this season, the only person you're going to have to be, you're going to be with Anissa. And they said, okay, I'll do it. But I think if he was an original casting, he would have been like, no, I'll find someone else. I'm not going to be with Anissa, because he knew damn well that if he got to a final, that this is what was going to happen. He didn't want to have to be portrayed this way, possibly. He would have definitely never have agreed to it if he was an original cast member of this season. He would have been trying.
He did. You are correct. He did initially turn down the season, not because of Anissa or anything like that, but he wasn't found. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
The whole thing with Tori, when he did come down, she didn't know. They had they had left.
Agree. 100%. She did not know. She had no idea.
No idea. So it was a last minute thing. They asked him. He said, I can't, doesn't work out schedule wise. He got back from wherever or a job or something. And they said, hey, we need a last minute. Can you come in? And he said, why not? So, yeah. And I think they had initially approached him and Naya. And then Naya had the health problems with vaping or something, a lung, she couldn't do something.
Oh, I remember something in her.
But also he wasn't going to do it. I don't remember all the details, but there was at some point talk of him and Naya appearing as Ride or Dies. Obviously didn't happen. The Anissa thing was a last minute. And I do think he said, fuck it. You know, why not?
Yeah.
Because clearly they're not Ride or Dies and they never were.
One more thing on the Jordan thing with him not letting Anissa solve the puzzle. It's like, it's been 2 days now. She hasn't done one thing of any substance to help him out. She finally is good at something, and his frustration level is so high he can't hear her. And I think that added into it. Like I'm like, Jordan, she's fine. She is good at puzzles.
Right.
We've established this over many, many seasons. Like, let her do this. Yeah.
Not now, please. Sorry.
They're trying to clean your room.
No, I'm gonna have to do a late checkout. Okay, I'll text them right now.
Pamela.
I'll text them now.
Pamela, I thought you
Once
had the
again,
late checkout already.
I didn't. Well, it's stuck there.
Everyone at home, you're watching real life happen for
I know,
Pamela
I
right
need
now.
a late
She's
checkout.
about to get kicked out of her hotel. I'm gonna have to one man this ship the rest of the time. It's possible. It could
No, it's
happen.
okay. I think that they're fine. This is like a sort of self-service hotel, so I didn't even know who to tell that I wanted it, but I just text the people that respond to me that I need a late checkout. They'll
All
just
right.
charge
Well,
me.
let's keep going until they
Okay.
literally like pick
All right.
you up.
Thanks for this real-time adventure. Talk about drama.
All right. So the swamp stuff happens. I wrote down hashtag Nani's knee because she does seem to have something, but then it's never mentioned again. No idea if that's even a thing. I think it was just in the moment. They decided to try to make it more drama filled when there's really not as much to it, but whatever. Maybe we'll hear about it in the final one. Station 5, another puzzle. Again, like you said, Pamela, not a lot happening here. Puzzle, puzzle, puzzle. Thank God for the drama. Thank God for this eating challenge that's about to come up because that's where it does start to get interesting. And then Jordan also says the line, do you ever have that dream where you're trying to run fast, but your dream won't let you run fast? Because I've had that where you're running away from someone, you can't get away. I've had those dreams. I know exactly what he was talking about. And he compared that to working with Anissa, trying to do all this running.
That's funny. That's the athletic person's version of that dream. What I have is that like I'm trying to dial a number and like it doesn't, it's like the numbers, like trying to call for help. And literally it's like you can't, it just doesn't work. Like,
I feel you,
why can't I press the right buttons? Or like, it's just this like moronically frustrating situation where it's like, it should be, 911.
Same concept though. Exactly. Yeah. So that's what he's, so then we have the whole thing that now they're by the campsite. Oh, so how do you feel? So I thought it was a good move by Jordan to help Nani and Bananas finish that second puzzle. Cause it obviously, no one's thinking of Jordan as a threat at this point. Even though if he was with anybody else, he would be considered that. So by helping Nani and Bananas, whatever.
Part of me thinks never help anybody, never, because if they didn't help them and they worked on it forever and got frustrated and hated each other and stayed up late, like it might have impacted things.
True.
So part of me thinks that. The other part of me thinks, again, they're both gunning for number one, which is Tori and Devin, and they both wanted to just be done with this shit. So I get it, but I would have been like, nah, no dice, dog. You guys can stay up all night trying to do this puzzle.
Yeah. Here's something that bothered me about this episode. Next is we find out that Tori and Devin got first, then it's Jordan and Anissa actually in second, and then Nani and Bananas in third.
And they win the day. Sorry.
They win the day. They get some type of lead, but we're not told what type of lead that is. Nothing of the sorts. I really don't think it was much of a lead at all. And I'm also confused by when Bananas.
Oh, I know what it was. We do know what the lead was. The car. They got to go first to pick their car to push out of the.
They got a lead.
We're going back. So Tori and Devin win the day.
Yes.
The puzzle day. Yes. And the lead that they get the next day is to choose their car first. They get a head start.
That's not really. TJ kind of brings that up in the moment. He's like, okay, whatever car you touch is your car. So they get to like slow it down and actually look at it.
They got to go first. They got a lead.
I'm just wondering, like, why did when they got to that final puzzle of the day one or whatever day the hell they're on, they were like, of this episode, Bananas was like, hey, Jordan, help us because it doesn't matter now. It's just about going to sleep. So when was the time stopped? Was the time stopped after they got to the campsite and right before they started that puzzle to give them a certain lead going into the next day? I wish there was like numbers on the screen telling me certain things. I feel like producers they're smart. They know by not giving us numbers, they can do, they have more of a pull on how they want to steer the scene. Cause let's be real, it's not fully reality anymore.
Right.
I don't know. But whatever. Okay. So they got to lead on to get to the car first, to choose their particular car that might have a better positioning to push that car. Was it just me? I know you're working there, Pam, but was it just me? Or did you think that they like, the car, I feel like they should have pushed that car further. I didn't think they pushed it that far.
Who knows how far they put? That's what I'm saying. You can't really tell with these things.
I didn't really think they pushed it that far, though. And I thought this is a good chance for Anissa to actually catch up with Jordan because Anissa is stronger than Tori and definitely Nani, but at least a little bit over Tori because Tori is strong, but she has Devin. So I thought to myself, well, Devin's not as strong as the other guys. So that's going to balance out the Tori and Devin thing. And I thought for sure, like, this is a chance for Anissa to actually, and her and Jordan to build a little bit of some momentum.
Camaraderie, yeah.
But then it's like at the same time they're going to go right into running again and then not be good at running.
Okay, sorry, they
No,
said.
answer please. Figure out what the hell's going on over there.
He said we have extended complimentary. Oh, 1 p.m. like checkout too. We asked. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Complimentary. Thank you.
Well, isn't that the nicest thing right there?
Oh, so I have to, and if you look at my Instagram, have you seen my Instagram?
I'll look right now.
Every time I come to Los
Well,
Angeles.
don't tell me. Maybe I usually see your Instagram stuff because I don't really
post, not a story, but it's not that exciting, but you can check it out. So that's nice that I got this complimentary late checkout because I've had a harrowing journey. I left at 7 a.m. from Palm Springs yesterday to get into my office in LA at 9.
Yeah.
But I got a gnarly flat tire on.
Oh no. How bad was it?
That's right. If you look at my Instagram,
it
is shredded.
It's shredded.
Like, shredded.
I love that you related it to the challenge though, and you have a split screen image here of you saying, "Hey, now I have time to read the challenge."
Well, that's what it is. So every time I go on these little journeys, it's the perfect time for me to bring out my challenge book, which is in chapters of the people.
Dude, did your car like swerve off the road? That thing is annihilated.
I was gonna say it's scary and horrible, but I had pulled off before to get coffee. And that's when I noticed thump, 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 thump. So it got really shredded driving. I just put in like AutoZone. I've been having I want to thank the universe and the kindness of strangers. Knock on wood. I don't want to, but I pulled off to a random thing, was like, to my car because my coverage that comes with it has just lapsed and I don't have AAA and I don't have a spare tire. So this was the worst time for this to happen. And I was like, and a nice man was like, give me $60. I'll go get you a new tire and put it on. And I was like, okay. And he did. In and out of.
How nice.
Like, it was a very lucky. I was in and out in like 40 minutes. I read the challenge, gave the guy, a nice tip. His friend at a tire store was one of those as horrible as that could have been. I was back on the road and like, thank you guys. Read about Hunter, who wrote on my Instagram. If you see, I was like, you get to check up on Hunter and get your tire fixed. And Hunter wrote that he's doing great. Okay. And he hopes I enjoy the book. It does still make me burn when I read about poor Hunter losing the money.
So you DM'd him and he's DMing you back now?
No, this is on the public Insta. Like I wrote like, hey, when you get a flat tire, but you get to check up on the challenge and see how Hunter's doing. And he wrote like back on the comments.
Commented on your post.
Yeah, he's like, I'm doing great, thank you. I hope you're enjoying the book.
I mean, you got to think. Do they now? Is it his words in there, like him writing it, that part of it, or
they interview them? They said it's quote like I was so upset. I mean, they quote them.
I wonder if they all get a percentage of the sales because if they're in the book and they're just paid for the interview. Then is what
probably
you're saying.
Not. Yeah, I doubt.
Well, they got to get paid for the interview at least.
Maybe
if they interviewed them if you get interviewed for a book,
if you pay someone for that. If I was writing a book on Sesame Street and I talked to a producer, I'm not going to pay them to give me their experience on.
I guess. Well, it's nice that Hunter wants people to buy the book.
Yeah, all the challengers, it's good for them. It's a champions book. It's separated. The book is done by. I have a late checkout, so we're not in trouble. A complimentary late checkout. Okay. Yeah, the housekeeper yelled at me, but.
Is your friend a fan of the challenge?
No, I tried to get, I was watching it and I was like, see, Jordan's he's really talking shit to Anissa. And I was like, it's like, you don't even care about the challenge. She doesn't.
Right. It's so funny too. Like Stacey's just not into the challenge, but she caught me watching it today and she's like, oh, Tori seems really nice. I'm like, yeah, she's great. Yeah. But like
great.
When I mentioned to some Stacey's friends watch the show. And I mentioned to them, like I said, oh yeah, we've interviewed this person, this person, this person, and they start freaking out. And Stacey's there, and she's like, "Why are they?"
We're like famous. We're really
like
important.
The fact that we've interviewed Wes and Tori, like people like Stacey's friends that are fans of the show, like freaked out in front of me, and then Stacey's all confused, like, why is everyone freaking out towards what Dan is doing? I can't comprehend who he's interviewing, like. So it's pretty fun.
Daisy, your man is challenge famous.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm sure. Your team I did get Wes on the show. That was a big get. Getting Wes on the show was a big pull.
Wes doesn't do a ton.
No, he doesn't. But he was doing it to promote his own stuff, which is fine.
Fine, we'll take it. So let me tell you real quick. Another thing about Tori seems sweet. wonderful for her figuring out the pattern. Because again, that is not, we don't think of Tori as a puzzle master. So that was kudos to her, just props where props are due. And part two, I really liked this, just showed her and Devin as ride or dies. Devin's like, this one's here, this one's here. And she's like, sometimes when you're married to an idea,
that's puzzle two, right?
Wrong, it can fuck up everything else. And he was like, okay, you're right.
He
and
listened to it, and then he changed it. They solved it.
Everything worked out. He's like, sometimes you're right. You need to flip it upside down, and that changes everything. And then everything laid into place.
Because he was married, like he said, I'm married to this. Like, this is right. He's like, well, let's get a divorce real quick.
Right.
And then we'll get back together. And it
that and yeah. So that was a beautiful moment.
All right, we got the push in the car
with Jordan going, no, it's not. So the way they showed that, it was Tori and Devin communicating, really, Carter, stay here. And Mary Jane, will you shut the door? My dog's leaving the hotel room. Stay here, sweetie. Sorry, this is a little behind the scenes of life, guys.
We're getting a lot of it today.
Carter's outside. Oh. Carter, come into the room.
I love TJ for the pushing the car thing. He's like, I got y'all cars. There's no motors in them. I forgot to get the motors. Like, I got the cars, but I never checked to see if there was motors in it. So he's making jokes. He's giving so TJ's having fun with it too, which I always appreciate. TJ busting balls. I love that stuff. Again, I'm upset they don't show us how much time that because when Tori and Devin got to their car, like Jordan and Bananas had not only passed Anissa, Nani and Bananas had not only passed Anissa and Jordan, but they're like, oh yeah, I can see him right over there. I'm like, did they get like a 2 minute? It's probably a 2 minute lead start. Yeah, I think that's all it was. I'm pretty damn sure.
And it didn't seem to be that big of a deal. So Nani touches the pink car and it's like, you touched it, it's yours.
Yeah, and that one was in the mud.
Oh no, who cares?
So that one was in the mud, and I was hoping that would kind of screw them so Jordan and Anissa could catch up. And it really only slowed them down. For everyone finished the car thing basically dead heat.
Yeah.
And then you get to, this is where I have a conspiracy and all this
I think I know what it is. Let's see.
Station number 7, the banquet. I just called it the gluttony challenge. They're putting down all these carbs. All it is plain pasta and like hard bread. It's gonna, but the thing about that, Pam, it does fill you up really fast.
That's what, because again, my friend that's here, I was like, sometimes they have to eat like a pig head. I can't believe they're complaining about this. Do you want to share your conspiracy?
Why don't you tell? Okay, I promise not to lie. Do you think you know my conspiracy?
I think the whole world is thinking that this was a for Tori conspiracy, that it was a vegan thing. Because I was telling Mary Jane, sometimes it's like a pig face. Well, remember when Maria had like lips, snout, like
100% it was for Tori, Pam. I mean, it's so obvious.
Like, eating bread and pasta, I get. She's like, what's the hard part about it?
Oh, hi, how are you?
What's the hard part about it? And I was like, I guess just that there's a lot.
It's gonna fill you up really fast.
Like,
and your
carbs, is that the scary part, or is just that it's nasty pasta?
I mean, at this point, I don't think they're worried about their figure. They're trying to win $1 million. They'll go hire someone very famous to get them back into shape. I think it's the amount of food. The ice cream was a fun twist, ladies. Like, that was fun. We did not see that coming at the end. They had to eat more food.
But none of the food was gross. Here's the
issue. If it's meat and it's that amount, there's no way Devin can pick up the pace because Tori cannot eat. She's vegan. She refuses.
I think she would have to do it at this point.
It is going to not only they're going to be so far behind, they're going to have no chance to win. So the producer's like, all right, we need it to be somewhat challenging, but we need Tori to still have a chance to win this because she is our golden girl, and she should have won last season. Let's be honest. So they had to make it
which to Tori's
credit
also,
I guess.
She's been a lot less salty about that than like I would have. Can you imagine if, just say it was fast, I'm like going to say me, like someone else that had gone that far and then just didn't win. Like Tori's been very gracious about the way.
She also knows that they're going to keep bringing her back, and she's going to make more money in the long run, hopefully.
I hope so, but I would have been.
Hey, look, they're like, hey, Tori, if you never mention how ridiculous it was losing to Casey, we'll give you your own podcast with Anissa. She's like,
right, seriously.
Okay, I'll do that because she's getting paid for that. I mean, like, it's not like she does it for free.
That was some bullshit. There's things that just still sting me that I guess you have to let go of and live. Like Hunter, I'm like, I'm glad you're doing well and you've like 2 kids now, but aren't you pissed that Ashley took your money? Like,
you think he would speak out a little bit more now, but wouldn't it be awesome if he came back for All Stars 4? I don't think he's being cast. I think we looked at most of the cast list, but I don't think he's on there. But All-Stars 4, wouldn't that be a great, see, any redemption story for Hunter, I don't care where he appears next. My eyes are on him. I'm like, let the guy get something. Please give him some money.
And Hunter, I don't want to spoil, but in the book, some people are interesting. Some of the chapters are interesting. Some of them are not interesting. Some of the people, obviously, just like the show, you have your favorites, you care. Hunter's is really interesting because I didn't know a lot about him. And he said he did explain it to, dealing with Ashley. He grew up with, his mother was a drug addict and really unreliable, and he didn't really have, and sort of, he could never count on her. And he said he sort of had just established his trust in Ashley when she did that, and that it really destroyed him.
Yeah.
And that it is about, it was a little more interesting than just your average story. Like Emily's, which was great, was like, and then I got in shape and started eating well and learned that like I needed to, it was like, I was on it because it was fun, but I wasn't that much of an athlete. And then I trained and got in shape and wanted to win the next season. It was interesting, but not as interesting as Hunter's, who I didn't know a lot about his background. And
yeah, I'm trying to look up right now.
I'm just gonna say it. I love Hunter.
Hey, I like Hunter. I like Hunter too. I'm trying to look up how much. Usually they show how much they've won on this page, but maybe they don't. Maybe I'm looking at
Hunter.
Yeah, how much? I want to know how much he's won overall in the challenge. I know they're not. They can't show that 500,000 because he got taken
in second. He came in second on the one before that. When
after he did War of the Worlds, after Final Reckoning, and he got to the final but didn't win. But I'm wondering, was War of the Worlds one where you got money first, second, and third place, or was it?
I can consult my book in a little bit, but let's get through this. Also, I wanted to say Hunter. Talks about being depressed and coming back not in shape for the next one. So he had an interesting journey, and then he had some kids. So I'd really like to see him back, not even on All Stars. I'd like to see him on the main show. He's still a young guy. I'd like to see him on.
Oh yeah, no, for sure he's young enough. Because he's like Corey and Nelson. That's the trio there. So like they're all around the same age.
Hunter reminds me of my nephew, which is why I think I have a special place in my heart for him. My nephew.
I know you always bring this up. I gotta see a picture of your nephew one of these days.
Look at him. His name is CJV on Instagram, Collar James Vierschling, and he's in the Kappa Alpha or something fraternity, and he's their like social chair. So if you want to look at my nephew, he's on Instagram. He does like the Kappa Alpha San Diego State University crap. He looks like Hunter. He's a little workout boy, and he's blonde.
It's like I don't even have to look him up now.
It's like we don't know where he came from in our family, but he is, he's great. Kotler, well, love you. Anyway,
moving on. So there's more to say about the food challenge besides that.
Okay, so let's talk about that. They're barfing. Tori barfs pretty early on, and everyone's like, "You've eaten like 3 rolls. Why are you barfing?" And Devin's like, "It's strategy," and I get it. You got to make room.
I listened to the podcast with Devin Simone. She interviewed Emmer Harkin or something. She's maybe she is the only executive producer. She's the one that we saw hug Horatio last episode. That's her. So they interviewed her this week. It was just a one-on-one interview with her and Devin, and she brought up so they have to show that they've swallowed their food first before they can puke each time. Because we are all thinking it like, well, are they just putting it in their mouth and then puking it up? And then no, they have to be like, all right, I want to go puke. And they say, they have a judge on each table that you never see as a viewer. And they say, hey, show me your mouth. They have to show it, and then they can puke. So that's how that.
I like that. Okay.
That's how that works. A little behind the scenes stuff. I like that.
I would like to share with you, and I think I've shared this with our viewers before that might know this about me. I am not a barfer. Like I won't barf, even if I don't know what it would take for me to eat so much that I had to vomit.
Oh.
Failed bulimic, could never do it. I just don't throw up. Like I can count on one hand the amount of times in my life, like even early days drinking, dizzy, wishing I could throw up. I'm not a thrower upper. Even if I try, I'm not good at it. So this would be pretty gnarly for me because I would just be in such pain because it would sit there, like I can't boot it out.
Yeah.
Oof, I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, throwing up is I hate the feeling of throwing up.
Who's
like, oh, this is great, but it's not fun.
No, but sometimes you need to like this. And
sometimes I need to get this out of my system so I can like go back to sleep. Like I never have to barf during the day. It's always like I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, oh my god, what happened? But it's very rare. I mean, obviously I haven't puked in years, but that's the only time it would happen would be when I wake up. I don't ever. It's like during the day. I'm not like the middle of the day. I'm like I should go throw up right now. Like this doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think it was like literally 7 years ago. I don't know why I'm knocking on wood, but that the last time I puked, and it was like that was weird.
Oh, there's some funny stuff that happened. I really
So
wanted
bananas
bananas.
and Nani. Sorry, yeah, bananas and Nani. Nani crushed it. I was also telling MJ.
Yeah.
I'm like, Nani weighs all of probably 96 pounds, literally, and she was just doing it. I'm like, she was doing great.
Well,
she wasn't.
You know, for all the payoffs that we don't get, because Jenna always brings those up, we didn't get the baby bird payoff where Nani was gonna put the rest of the food into Banana's mouth. He's like, no, I'm not doing that. But then she goes and pukes in his pocket, which was so funny, Pamela. I was dying. It is gross, but okay, we don't have to talk about it anymore. But
You know, I don't like puke. Maybe
I know
that's
we'll stop
why.
talking. But it was that was funny, no?
Nothing's ever as good as Corey's projectile vomiting montages. So like, we can get all the puking we want. It's just puking next to Corey's insane, bizarre trajectory puke that like flies around the world. So
well, let's bring this up. We do get TJ's sweet surprise, pun intended,
ice cream.
Yeah, so the ice cream thing. No, I could do that, no problem.
I could house some ice cream.
I'd house some ice cream. And Nani made it so smart. Yeah, make it into a drink and just drink it. It's liquid. You're done. I mean, so that was good.
Delicious liquid.
Going into the next round, so now Nani and Bananas have taken the lead, followed by Tori and Devin and Jordan and Anissa. I guess we could bring that up. Like, Anissa and Jordan, step it up in the eating challenge, both of you. Like, this is where, like, there's no running involved for Anissa to struggle. There's no way for Jordan to really yell. Just go and eat the damn food. You stuff your mouth, Jordan. You can't yell at her. You got your mouth full of food, and yet they still come in third. Like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, pick it up.
Like, that is we can't forget that. Like, both of them. And I include Jordan in that. But Anissa, too. Like, Anissa, house the damn food.
Right. And again, when he was puking, he's like, you can't fool me, Jordan, with the funny commentary. Anissa, because he's puking doesn't mean take a break and stand there.
Yeah, she took a break, and then he was jokingly saying, like, she's pushing more. Like, they split it down the middle. Like, how ride or die is that? Like, you eat that, I'll eat that. How about ride or die is like, let's just eat this together as quick as we can. We're not, like, picking sides. Like, you stay on your side, I stay on my side. Like, that's not ride or die. I mean, there's so many reasons why they're not ride or dies. There's another one for you right there.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Oh, Semi-Charm Kind of Life is now playing when the helicopter shows up at the end.
So
I love that song. I
like it. It's a great song, but they're like, it's all right. So what do you think? So they'll get on a helicopter and like be dropped somewhere to swim to the, do we think that's what's our prediction?
So we saw only one helicopter. They could all fit up in there. It looked pretty big. I know there's always a weight thing with helicopters. You have to only a certain weight can get in there, but yeah, I think they all get in there. They either have to jump out of it or jump. Maybe they have to, you know what? There's a lot of jumping into targets this season. So maybe they have to jump into a target. I don't know, but what's that?
They haven't done a swimming portion of this challenge yet. So.
Yeah, I think some swimming is definitely up for grabs there. On the podcast with Devin and Emmer was like, this final day is something you've never seen before. The first two parts you saw were basic. This is how we always do our challenges. Okay. This final part, the contestants were so confused. They had no idea this was going to happen. They had no hints. They had nothing to know. They said that the cast, that TJ and her, all the crew were hiding in the dark for hours, waiting for them to get to this next checkpoint. And then they turned all the lights on. And it's like, I think she didn't say this, but it looks like it's a nighttime zone.
Don't tell me. I'm so excited. I have no idea what I'm in for. And that's what a delay.
So this is a huge twist coming up for the final day. It's outrageous, apparently. And they were shocked. She said all the contestants were shocked about what was about to happen and what they had to do. So I think as a viewer, we should be very excited.
Marvelous.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if I'm very excited. And yeah, this was a nice middle of the challenge episode.
Exactly.
I'm really looking right. The first one. Oh, that's what I wanted to say. I knew my brain went somewhere. So I was right about our guessing who Olivia liked. Did you see the Instagram I sent you?
Yeah. So was it Devin or was it? Because someone.
Devin.
I can give props or I give credit to someone on our Patreon. They didn't say it was Devin though. They came out. They wrote us a nice.
I said I think it was Devin.
No,
and then you said you think it was Horacio, and I was like, oh, you're probably right.
But someone else said it was actually Jay. Michelle's partner. That's what someone on our Patreon. So people are writing on our Patreon, which is real nice. Click the link below to go to our Patreon and watch our episodes over there. We have a lot of challenge deep dives that we're doing. And they actually said, no, it's actually Jay. So now we have 3 different. So like, who is it?
I thought she confirmed
let's
on the
do this.
other podcast that I referenced that it was Devin.
I know. That's why this is so confusing. Let's throw this out to our listeners for here real quick, okay, before we go for the day.
Okay.
Olivia said on the official challenge podcast that she actually had a crush not only on Nelson, but a mystery character, and she liked them the exact same. And she said, whoever hits on me first, I'm just going to go with that guy. And sure enough, it was Nelson. She said also the other person started to pull away from her a little bit, and because she thinks that he might have had something going on back home, and he didn't want to mess that up or mess with that. So please tell us the other person that Olivia had a crush on this season. We don't. I thought it was Horatio.
Publicly that it was Devin, but might have been
Apparently Olivia said it was Devin, but why would she say it was Devin? Why wouldn't she just disclose that on the official challenge podcast?
Well, I think because said person has a girlfriend at home, and it was like, and she made it sound like they were flirting.
But you're telling me she just went and said something about it on.
Listen, I didn't listen. I have to full disclosure. I didn't listen to that interview.
Pamela.
I just saw the clip, and it said like tag. It was, well, thank you out there, everyone doing the social media work for us. It just had like a caption like, Devin has a girlfriend. And then there was another thing where someone commented who was the girlfriend, and they're like, she's at home, she's not on TV, whatever. So I think the reason it was a sensitive topic, and again, I'm making a lot of this up, so feel free to correct me.
All right, so that's going to be a big comment section for this episode.
Sorry, guys.
Who the heck did Olivia really have a crush on? We're all over the place with this. They also mentioned on the official challenge podcast that Anissa, this is like Anissa's favorite person, that everyone loves this person, but Anissa, like, this is Anissa's favorite. So like, who the hell is Anissa's favorite person? That's apparently who Olivia likes.
Or not, like, I can't tell if they're being everybody loved. Right. I don't know what. I think we're making too much of that. So then
maybe it's sarcastic, and that's why it's Devin, because not everyone likes Devin.
Right. Or maybe, I don't really know.
All right. Well, definitely tune into our Patreon, because we have we broke down that episode of the official challenge podcast. And then definitely tune in next week for episode 19, which should be the last episode before the reunion. We should find out who the winner is next week.
And let's do a podcast, a Patreon tomorrow, Dan. I have an idea, so we can talk about that off camera.
We'll do a Patreon tomorrow on Friday.
Make sure and sign up for our Patreon if you're not already, because it's going to be good.
Because we apparently have an idea that you will find out about if you only watch Patreon. Got it. Okay. Yeah. We'll see you next time. For Pamela, I'm Dan. This was episode 18, my lucky number of the challenge, The Hours.
And Jenna will be with us next week. If she's not on a cruise somewhere, she's working. Jenna, but she's
very busy lady. Yes.
Yes.
All right.
And Dan's getting married next week, guys. So everyone say, let's hashtag congratulations, Dan, this week. Hashtag congratulations.
Not this Sunday, but the following Sunday, I am going to be wifed up, and I'm very excited about it.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See, she's the first one to congratulate.
Just to congratulate you.
Okay.
All right. Bye, guys. Thank you. All right. Bye, Dan.